Your girl is here. Sorry for the squeaking. My headphones giving a little feedback here. Sorry about that. Ooh, headphones. What's up with that? All right, we'll get it together. Welcome. Hope you're having a beautiful Friday. It's your girl Suzette Speaks coming to you live after a beautiful 1 week vacation abroad. Yeah, took a little time to breathe, but back at it in full effect. So happy to see all my Voice of the Caribbean fam. Big up Miss Jen, big up Renee, big up Humble Lion, and everybody. Miss Lisa B, you know me feel about you guys. I'm so happy to be back. Sometimes you need a little break though. So your girl did it and came back ready and roaring with lots on her chest. Let me tell you, the news. It's always new. That's actually true. And anytime I would like to look away, there's something that draws me in. If you're new here, welcome. We discuss hot topics. We discuss social media trends, news you can use. I don't know why I'm getting that little bit of feedback there. There's a little bit. Let me turn down the mic a little bit, maybe. A little feedback there. Hopefully, it sounds smooth and clean to you. But yeah, if I am new to you, if you just discovered us or stumbled upon us, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm a lawyer here in Florida. I also have Jamaican roots, but I was raised in South Florida. I call myself the best of both worlds. My parents are very Jamaican. Yes, yes, yes. And I think I retained enough of the culture to be able to relate to both my ancestry as well as my newly found, American identity. So I always take this show and program very seriously because I think I can help speak to our community of immigrants and folks who are like myself making a home here by choice. I don't know if I had a choice because my parents actually like brought me, but now by choice as an adult to hopefully make our community stronger and a better place, even though there are negative currents, let's call them, that are pushing us in a different direction. I'm very passionate about information, obviously, making sure we bring you the best information, the most credible information possible. I'm very passionate about community issues when it comes to local issues, whether that's in the cities that we are covering here in South Florida, from all the way down in Key Largo, all the way up to Jupiter. So you'll hear me cover local politics, and I will also cover statewide and national politics and international at that too. So we cover it all here. I try to give you my opinion and my honest thoughts on different subject matter. When I see it on social media and it matters to me, or I see it in the news and it matters to me, I bring it to you because I feel like, hey, someone out there must feel like how I feel, or at least wants to discuss certain topics a little bit deeper. So that's what we do here on the Suzette Speaks show. So if you're brand new, welcome, welcome, welcome. You can carry us wherever you go. Take us wherever you go. We have an app in the App Store. So make sure you download the app, right? You can go to the App Store if you are Android like me, Google Play, or on the other side, the iPhone people and the Apple Store. You can also go to voiceofthecaribbean.com. You can watch us on the live stream, well, tongue tied there, live stream, and hang out, become a part of the family. This is a community that we have intentionally built, around upliftment and helping one another to grow and again stay informed. So in the middays here in Voice of the Caribbean, you will hear a lot of different talk shows. We carry a lot of well educated and informed people. We like to bring you just different perspectives. And again, the views expressed here on the Suzette Speaks shows are that of me, the host. Any guests that call in, you can call in 850-446-0562, 850-446-0562. Gets you in touch with us here in the studio if any of these stories kind of mess with you. So I'll tell you what was being discussed yesterday at my kitchen table. Actually, it was my brother's kitchen table. So once a week, I normally go and I go see my nieces. I myself don't have any chickadees, no chick, no child, but I have beautiful, beautiful nieces, two of them, and they're getting so big. Can you believe I was away for 1 week? And the not yet 1 year old start taking steps on me. This one has been doing a little crawl scooch across the floor. And Auntie comes back from her cruise. And last night I go see the girls and I see her trying to take a little hobbly walk. And I almost screamed. The poor child did not know why I was screaming at her. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's walking, she's walking. So let me tell you, these precious moments, these kids don't stay small for too long at all. So anyway, I was really hyped about the walking and seeing my nieces, catching up with them, all that good stuff. So in the midst of that, my brother mentioned that he has been seeing this particular story on TikTok. Now, I'm not a TikToker. I will become obsessive really quick with social media. I already spend too much time, and I'm constantly trying to cut down my social media time, right? Because you have to live in real life. Yes, we are okay with, curation and learning about others and keeping up with our friends and keeping up with our families and keeping up with people we don't even really know and all that. But at some point, you have to kind of live in the real world, right? So that's what I'm trying to do more often than not. So I'm trying to limit what I and how much I take in on social media. So anyway, my brother's like, yeah, have you seen that all these flights got canceled? And one of the things happened to him is, and it actually happened to us on the way to the cruise. A cousin out of Atlanta who was flying with us on the way to the cruise, her flight got canceled, and this is a week ago. And also a week ago, my brother, who was taking his family to New York, New York, for a family trip, also had their flight canceled. And he was just like, yeah, there's a lot on TikTok about flight cancellations and how many different flights are being canceled. So I said, I got to bring this to the people. Let me do a little research and see if this is a real thing. Because, of course, we are mobile people. We move out and about. We go see friends and family. Most of us have, families that are scattered across the seas. So I looked it up. And when it comes to flight cancellation, AI is reporting that over 3,000 United States flights have been canceled recently due to severe northeastern storms and lingering operational recovery issues, like the JetBlue, like by carriers from JetBlue. So, yeah, 3,000. Think about this. Due to the northeastern storms, severe weather, and flash flooding caused widespread multi day ground stops and over 3,000 cancellations earlier in the week. This is according to the YouTube of CBS Boston. Now, I didn't realize JetBlue itself. Now, let me clarify what I was saying about the JetBlue recovery delays. So, apparently, JetBlue's faced upwards of 900 cancellations and heavy cascading delays following a storm that delayed or impaired its operational center and put constraints on several of its flights. And as I say, cascading, if a plane doesn't get to the first location, the plane won't get to the second location, the plane won't get to the third location, the fourth location, none of it. So, yeah, there were several people in the last week who I know personally who have had canceled flights, and apparently it is a nationwide issue. And so, if we're looking at approximately 3,000 United States flights having been canceled recently due to severe storms and lingering operational recovery issues from JetBlue's operational constraints due to these storms. Think about that. 3,000 flights is a whole lot of people impacted. So if you are a traveler, we want to make sure we check, because my brother said he was just there. They had already checked in, gone into the gate, everything sitting there, and then all of a sudden, boom, on the monitor it said canceled. So some of the major airlines are issuing flexible, flexible waivers. Excuse me. Major airlines have issued flexible weather travel waivers for the Northeast. Check your airline advisory pages to rebook or request refunds without extra fees. So just be aware that this is a thing, and it has gone into, the social media, or at least the TikTok stratosphere. I haven't seen it a lot on Instagram, but it's being discussed a lot on TikTok. Cancellations that are quite high and quite unusual across the United States. So just be aware of this if you are planning to travel or go somewhere in the near, future. You want to make sure you stay on top of your airline carrier, and if they cancel last minute on you, again, make sure you request, or hopefully, depending on the airline, not all of them are honoring it, but according to the USA Today, major airlines have issued flexible weather travel waivers for the Northeast, and you should check with your airline's advisory page to rebook or request a refund. All right, so I was curious about that, so I did a little research on that. The other thing that I'm still following that I didn't get to go into too much detail with is the Nolan Wells case. The Nolan Wells case, if you don't know about this case, it's making waves across social media and now mainstream media. I actually saw it on ABC News, their evening broadcast as well. So mainstream media is catching up. Nolan Wells and his friends. This is a young man in Mississippi who went on a boat ride or boat trip to a sandbar island, Horn Island, with his friends, so called. We put an air quote in air quotes. Friends, right? Friends, that's so called. But the friends don't leave you. That's what I'll say. Friends don't leave you. But anyway, according to this new development, we wanted to get into, and I have a clip I want to play by Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace is a television personality that's known as a victim rights advocate and a long time case investigator, like cold cases and cases where families don't have answers. Nancy Grace, if you don't know who I'm talking about, is this white woman with the cute bob. Nancy Grace. If I'm saying that because the younger generation may not know, Google what she looks like. But for us old heads or mature heads, Nancy Grace, we know we've grown up with her on television investigating crime. Well, she has definitely taken to this case, and Nolan Wells's case is really heartbreaking because if this is your high school son and he goes out on a day on a boat and it doesn't come back, and 2 days later his body washes up on shore, it's really really tragic, heartbreaking, and alarming to many of us. But I saw this report I wanted to share with you because we haven't really heard a lot from his friends. And if you haven't been following the story, I encourage you to just do a Google search. But if you are on social media like the rest of us, you've seen this. This is a big story. His family is now being represented by uh, renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and they did a review of an independent autopsy ordered by the family on Wednesday. They announced it at the NAACP National Convention in Chicago. It wasn't conclusive. The independent coroner said that there are parts of his body that were missing, which is normal because a previous coroner removed them to be examined. So he didn't have the second autopsy didn't have all the organs. That sounds really morbid, but that's how it goes. It's actually a normal procedure. But there was also a report of a red mark or some sort of bloodied mark in the back of, I'll call it a red mark in the back of Nolan Wells's head, but inconclusive as to where it came from and if it was actually anything that contributed to his demise. So I saw this on TMZ, and I'm just going to share what has been reported. This was as of yesterday in the evening. TMZ is reporting, per yahoonews.com, Nolan Wells's friends claims that he refused repeated pleas to get on the boat. Now, this is very interesting. Now, we haven't heard a lot from the friends. The friends have deleted their social media. They have not made really any public statements or any of significance. But according to this report, Nolan Wells repeatedly refused to leave Horn Island on his buddy's boat. This is what the friends are saying, at least according to his so-called best friend. I put the so-called in there because it bothers me. You wouldn't leave a friend, but okay. So this young guy, Warren Hudson, went on, and this is a pretty popular streaming show, The Officer Tatum Show. So Warren Hudson, one of the so-called friends or his best friend of Nolan Wells, went on The Officer Tatum Show where he told Brandon Tatum, who's the host of The Officer Tatum Show, that Nolan was repeatedly asked to get on the boat before they took off. Interesting. The way Warren tells it, it's not uncommon to go to Horn Island on a boat and come back to the mainland on a completely different one. He said his buddy was panicking, trying to get Nolan to leave with them, allegedly saying, "Nolan, get on the boat," whatever. Can't say those words. Warren claimed that Nolan wasn't the only person in their group to leave with someone else that day. Okay, let's revisit the facts. As you know, this is according to Yahoo News, reporting from TMZ. As you know, Nolan Wells' body was found in the water off of Horn Island. This is off the coast in Mississippi. Days after he went missing on the 4th of July, his friends reported he stayed behind to hang out with a girl, but that girl told police he was planning to head back with his pals. So they say he was supposed to be back with the girl. The girl says he was supposed to go back with the friends. Interesting. Nolan's family is conducting an independent, investigation into the teen's mysterious death. This story bothers me for so many reasons because again, people are very concerned that a group of teenagers could go one place and leave their friend, apparently or allegedly, leave their friend after a day out on the water. And I think one of the lessons we can learn from this again is hard because we don't know what happened. Was it an accident? We don't know. Is there somebody criminally negligent or criminally liable, right? And according to the law for taking his life, we don't know. Still so many questions, and I feel so bad for his mother and father who also spoke at the press conference on Wednesday during the NAACP's national convention. And Attorney Ben Crump said it best. I mean, he has been a true North Star for so many who unfortunately find themselves in this heartbreaking scenario. So you imagine you wake up and your life is normal. You send your kid off to a fun day on the water with his friends. And then a couple days later, your life is turned upside down. He's no longer with you. The pain and the hole in your heart, the grieving, you don't even get a chance to really do that properly because what's happening is it has become a national and really international story because of the dynamics of the people who are involved. It's heart shattering, and again, I'm trying to find the right depth of language to describe what it must be like to lose a child in such a public way. At a time where you don't get to really grieve them properly and you have to fight for the child in terms of getting the answers and getting the justice they deserve and you and your family deserve is hard. I can't even imagine trying to do that. Speaking of, I just want to put a pin in this story. We'll come to the Nolan Wells story after the break. I'm going to play a little audio from Nancy Grace and what TMZ is saying. But I also just want to mention one of our listeners and supporters who over the years have been serving us in the Caribbean American community. I just want to send out my sincerest condolences to Broward County Commissioner Hazel Rogers. She lost her mom recently, and I know the funeral is today, actually happening right now. I was not able to attend, obviously, I'm here. But her mother, I think her mom was over 100 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And, many who knew and loved her are, of course, grieving with her in this time of loss. But I just want to, on behalf of the Voice of the Caribbean family, send our love and sincerest condolences and hugs and well wishes to Commissioner of Broward County, Hazel Rogers, and her family as they are laying to rest her mom. Her mom passed away, I think, after a long illness. She had been lingering and going back and forth. So for those who know, and I know this is a community, big community, but we are less than 6 degrees of separations from everybody. So reach out and show some love. If you just even post or below the post on social media or whatever way you feel like you can show a little love or support for the family, it's not easy when you lose a loved one. So as we're talking about Nolan Wells, sorry, that just came in my head that I am thinking about Miss Hazel Rogers and her family as they put their mom to rest. Again, it's just a terrible, terrible, stage that all of us have to face at one time or another. So we're going to talk about Nolan Wells a little bit more. I wanted to pivot. Oh, you guys heard that LeBron is not coming to Miami? Were you guys, did anybody follow that? Was that big news for you? LeBron, apparently the Miami Heat social media department, switching gears, had put up a YouTube link and unfortunately made it public that said LeBron James announcement, and it was dated for this coming Monday, the 27th. And so there was much speculation after LeBron James, who decided he was leaving the LA Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, he had played in Miami before, been a part of what we call the Big Three. Y'all give it up for the Big Three. Brought us a championship, Not one, not two. You remember that? You remember the press conference, the Big Three, with Mr. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Chris Bosh. Now, it has been highly speculated as far as where Mr. LeBron James would end up. So people were saying he's coming back to Miami. He's coming back to Miami. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Psych. That's an American slang. Just kidding. that Mr. LeBron James has made it official, and he is signed. Let me just make sure because I saw it this morning. I hope it's not bad fake news, but that he signed with the 76ers. Philly is an official new home of Mr. LeBron James. So, yes, it is official. I see it on the New York Times. LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, marking his record. This man, you know what? Don't like him or dislike him. You have to give him credit. This gentleman has been in the in the league now for 23 seasons, and next year it will mark his 24th season. That level of play for an athlete is not easy to maintain. And again, that's after the Miami Heat mistakenly posted LeBron James' press conference link, and he was not going. We got hype. Anyway, we got to take a quick pause for the cause. Congratulations, Mr. LeBron James, on your 24th season and signing to the Philadelphia 76ers, not the Phillies, the 76ers. And yes, he's calling it his last decision, but we will see. Anyway, keep it locked right here on Voice of the Caribbean. It's the Suzette Speaks show. We got a lot more news to chat about. I got to take a quick break. Stay tuned.
All new Voice of the Caribbean. Better sounding radio.
Hey, y'all. I don't even know what I wanted to talk about for the rest of the show because the Nolan Wells case is so sad. Hot water. Whee. Is he taking Bronny with him? Look at my hair. My hair looks so messy. Can I just tell you, I did a deep condition of my hair yesterday. Oh my gosh. Like, this is not my hair, but of course. I treated it. Oh my gosh. This thing almost knotted up on me. I had to do a deep condition yesterday. Thank God the deep condition worked. But I feel good. Vacation hair is still full effect. Had a good time on my cruise. Hope everybody's having a good day. Um, what else do I want to talk about? I don't even know what I want to talk about. Oh, I want to go see the Odyssey. What else do I want to talk about? Um, I gotta spit, y'all. Sorry. Do it off the camera. For the lingering cold. Lingering cold in my throat. Almost done with it though. Thank you, Lord. Wee. Woo-wee. All right, what else do I want to talk about? Miami luxury housing sales outpaced New York and San Francisco. I don't want to say that. That's not the story I want. There's been talk about South Florida, most expensive place to live. South Florida, most expensive place to live. In America. To live. This is it. National ranking. Where do I get this? Instagram, Cleveland.com. Home price median. There had to be stories about this. This was this week. South Florida passes South, that's not easy. Setting sail out of Miami, Florida, November 11th through the 16th. Aboard the Norwegian Joy with port stops in Falmouth and Ocho Rios, Jamaica. Be a part of the most immersive reggae cruise with 5 days of music, culture, and pure vibes. Cabins are going fast. Secure yours now at welcome to Jamrock Reggae. Should I play a little Nancy Grace? Welcome to JamrockReggaeCruise.com. All right.
The Voice of the Caribbean. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
Welcome back. It's the Suzette Speaks show. The time is now 1:33. It is a pleasure to share this time with you today. If you're brand new here, welcome. I'm Suzette Speaks, your hostess with the mostest. I want to tell you before I get deep into some more news, we're going to cover a little bit of Mr. Nolan Wells. I'm going to play a clip from Nancy Grace, and I told you about her, how she has become a passionate advocate for the family of Nolan Wells. This is the young man whose death is under investigation, and again, it continues to be a mystery as to what happened to him after he went out on July 4th with his friends on a boat trip and never came back and was found deceased 2 days later. So we are going to play a little bit more about what her angle is in terms of why she is so passionate about trying to get to the bottom of the answers for Mr. Wells. And people are saying, uh, once Nancy Grace is on the case, it's a wrap. We're going to get to the bottom of it, but we shall see. Also wanted to mention that this coming Monday, yours truly, Suzette Speaks, I will be the moderator for a political debate for the 24th Congressional District. This is the seat that Congresswoman Frederica Wilson has now announced that she will be retiring from. So we have a wonderful political candidate forum for the people who are running for that seat, as well as Jared Moskowitz's seat. 7 of the candidates who are running in District 24 have confirmed, including County Commissioner, or former County Commissioner, Mr. Oliver Gilbert, and outgoing County Commissioner, Mr. Oliver Gilbert, outgoing State Senator Sharon Jones, and many others will be joining us on stage at the Ebenezer Baptist Church. That's in Hollandale Beach. That is this coming Monday, July 27th at 6 p.m. Ebenezer Baptist Church, Hollandale Beach. It is open to the public. We hope that you or anyone that you know that are living in Congressional District 24, which takes a little bit of South Broward, of course, North Miami, Miami Gardens, parts of Miami proper. It's very important that we listen to and figure out who is the best person to represent us in Washington, D.C., and we are very grateful for the organizers, the Democratic Black Caucuses from Broward County and from North Miami-Dade and other places are coming together to put together this community forum so that the public can hear directly from those who wish to represent them. So I'm honored, Suzette Speaks, to be moderator for this great political debate, or forum. So this is this Monday to July 27th. Monday, July 27th. Please mark your calendars. Ebenezer Baptist Church, Hollandale Beach, Florida. Yours truly will be stepping up to moderate and ask the hard questions of those who want to take over for Frederica Wilson's seat. And we are going to hold them accountable. Don't you worry. We're going to get to the hard and heavy-hitting questions, and we invite you to come. So make sure you mark your calendar for this Monday. Also, we have quite a few events going on for the weekend. I'm actually going to be on the red carpet. Ooh, girl, yes. A homeboy of mine, a colleague, I should say, is throwing a Sunday brunch called the Bella Brunch. And he asked me if I would do some red carpet interviews. I was like, of course I will. The Bella Brunch will be, I think that will be in Fort Lauderdale this coming Sunday. Starts at 5. You know your girl not coming till about 8 because I'm waiting till the sun go down. But the Bella Brunch, you can look it up. Bella Brunch is a grown-up, sophisticated, afternoon, evening kind of brunch. I think it goes from like 5 to 11. So you can still wake up for work and, of course, not be too tired, etc. But he's trying to do grown-up, sophisticated kind of vibe. And I'm excited to be doing the red carpet hosting, a few interviews and setting the mood and getting the people ready for a beautiful experience. Shout out to Overdose is his name. And thank you for reaching out to me. I appreciate that. So Sunday I'll be at the Bella Brunch. I think it's at a hotel, I want to say close to Commercial Boulevard and 441 in Broward, Bella Brunch. And it's free. It's free. Commercial Boulevard, 441, Bella Brunch. If you follow him, big up mine like Overdose and the crew of promoters that do a great job. He is wonderful. I'm talking about his decor and setting the atmosphere is unmatched. So if you want a grown-up, sophisticated, beautiful, outing where you can keep it simple, we don't, you can come and dress, but if you don't have to, it's a day brunch, right? The Bella Brunch is free. And yours truly, Suzette Speaks, will be hosting the red carpet. So I'm super excited about that. Sunday. Monday, we get serious. We're going to turn, like I said, to politics, and I'll be hosting and moderating the political debate on Monday, July 27th at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Hollandale Beach for House District, Congressional District, I should say, 24. Frederica Wilson seat, 7 of those who, I think it's like a total of 8, but 7 have confirmed. So I'm looking forward to hosting that. Girl, I'm looking at myself at a YouTube. Girl, your skin glowing. Shout out to everybody who got to take a summer vacation. Did you get a chance to take a summer vacation? First of all, my friend who is a teacher and he lives in Broward, he said he only got one more week left of summer before he has to go back to school. So if you haven't taken your vacation, if you haven't gone to the beach, if you haven't started the workout, if you haven't, visited wherever, location, what I was going to say, staycation, right, around the way, do it because by the time you blink, school is going to be back and we're going to start again. Also, wow, oh, this is what I also wanted to talk about, the firings at ESPN. Let me just talk about who got fired at ESPN. This is a big deal because a lot of them were people of color, African American journalists who were highly regarded and esteemed for their talents, and yet and still we saw a lot of firings, unexpected, including like Charles Barkley got fired. Let me read the list. And people are buzzing about this. That's the other big story besides Nolan Wells. Let me play a little bit of the Nolan Wells audio from the Nancy Grace show, but then we're going to pivot to the ESPN story, which is making major waves all across social media, where high, what can I say, prominent personalities from across ESPN were fired, including 33-year veteran MLB announcer Carl Ravek, NFL analyst Ryan Clark, former NFL MVP Cam Newton, and insider Tom Pelissero. So there were some major firings going on. Let me tell you, it's not just the little people, it's the big people. And according to an internal memo from ESPN, according to Forbes, their chairman, Jimmy Pitaro, the cost cutting, that's what he says about cost cutting measures, are heavily driven by restructuring following the network's acquisition of the NFL network earlier this year. The integration of the two brands created significant job redundancies. You ever heard that before? You don't want to become the redundant, so-called, sparking severe job cuts among both on-air talent and behind-the-scenes staff. This was a very, very, very big story. So we are following that. But let's get a little bit more on the Nolan Wells story. I'm going to play a little bit of a clip from Nancy Grace and her show. This was yesterday. She was talking about the FBI now becoming involved because people are trying to figure out what's really going on in the Nolan Wells case and why no one has been arrested, no statements have been made, what really happened to this young man, so that his family can get answers. This is Nancy Grace.
Bombshell tonight, the Nolan Wells autopsy furor. This is the FBI swoops in. Good evening.
Nancy Grace, this is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. I find it very difficult to believe that not one, but two medical examiners cannot figure out why he had deep red subcutaneous markings.
Preliminary findings, and this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time. He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. So he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy.
Again, this is the Suzette Speaks show. I'm here playing just a clip from the Nancy Grace program, and she was doing a deep dive and is doing a deep dive. The voice that you just heard was an attorney for the family, a lead attorney for the family, who is Mr. Benjamin Crump, and he and the family have been making statements. This is Nolan Wells' mother, who was at the same press conference, which was held this past Wednesday at the NAACP's National Convention in Chicago. This is where the autopsy of the second examiner, the independent autopsy of this young man, was revealed. And here's his mother making comments about this tragedy as well and how it's impacted her.
We have is what happened to our son. That is the only question. We have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone. And it's been difficult for us, but we are leaning into our faith, leaning into one another, also leaning into all of you.
You were seeing family attorney Ben Crump, followed by Nolan Wells' mother, speaking. Dear Lord in heaven, what is wrong with people? If this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened? He goes out with friends. They all come back. He's dead. I don't understand the hate directed toward Nolan's family and to everyone looking for answers. At this hour, I don't think anyone is guilty, but I do know that there is a conflict in the stories, and we are not stopping until we know what happened to Nolan Wells. So you can send all the hate and vitriol you want.
Listen, Miss Nancy Grace is not playing. Miss Nancy Grace is a very passionate advocate for victims, and she has jumped on this particular case. Again, a young African-American man in Mississippi, or boy, teenager, who went out on the water with his friends and they left him for whatever reason. We don't know what happened in between. Now they're claiming, according to TMZ, that he refused to get back on the boat. You heard just now from the attorney for the family, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, describe in an independent autopsy that there is some sort of red markings around the occipital bone, the back of the head, basically, unexplained and can't really be verified as to when and how those were rendered to the body. But Nancy Grace is right. Why is the family receiving all types of hatred or all types of vitriol when all they want to do is get to the bottom of what happened to their son? And if this was your child or your family member, your cousin, your little brother, whoever, wouldn't you want to know what happened? Listen, Nancy's mad, y'all.
Have at it. That from our friends over at NAACP. Straight out to Joseph Scott Morgan. We got an all-star panel lined up to analyze what's happening at this hour. As we are learning, the FBI has swooped into this investigation. And that is not disparaging local law enforcement, although they did apparently jump the gun at the get-go and say no foul play suspected. Well, I suspect foul play, because I don't know any differently. Maybe it will turn out to all be an accident. But as of right now, we need a full-on investigation. Joe Scott Morgan, before I give you a very, very long intro bio, where's the throat? I know we have deep red markings on the occipital bone that's in the back of the thank you. This is directly from the autopsy. We want you to see what the family has seen. Don't you think, Joe Scott Morgan, that the second medical examiner might need the throat to figure out what happened? I mean, Joe Scott, it's on fire, claims that Nolan Wells had been lynched, that he had been strangled, asphyxiated. Do I believe a lynching occurred? No, I do not believe that. But I do know I need to see the neck.
Yeah, and let me tell you where the neck is. Or the organs of the neck, as it's referred to. These neck structures are actually being held by the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office. And they don't just arbitrarily hold things like this, Nancy. This is something that would commonly go with the body when the body is released. So I deduce the fact that they have seen something there that they're trying to hold on to from an evidentiary value. Remember, the state still has an ongoing investigation in this case, and they see evidentiary value in this. And yes, I know that the second autopsy prosector up in DC would have liked to have seen this, but he understands this, why they would retain it. And it is being retained, I can promise you that, as are other tissue samples. But the problem is that when you get into these structures in the neck, one of the things you're trying to assess is, was this a drowning? Also, is there any kind of trauma? If people will just put their hands right here in the midline of your neck, you'll feel that kind of cartilaginous body there. That's cartilage, right? That can be fractured. Need I remind you, Epstein, right? So you have to examine this. Also, here's our word, Nancy. They're talking about the hyoid is missing as well. So they don't have
Show
that. They've
me
retained.
Joe Scott Morgan, because show me Joe Scott. You and I, hyoid, we know what it is because you and I have handled a ton of asphyxiation, ligature, manual strangulations, you name it. Hyoid, explain. So delicate.
Yeah, and it's very, very far up the neck, Nancy. And one of the things that happens is that with the hyoid, it's generally only traumatized as a result of direct pressure that's generally applied by a throttling event or a C-clamp like this, throttling meaning like this. So manual strangulation, and an outlier here is ligature strangulation, but primarily hands-on. So they're looking for little fractures in here all along the way. So that has to be dissected along with these other, there's a couple of other structures that you look at as well.
I'm going to stop it right there because this is what the Nancy Grace Show has brought to our attention. Welcome. If you're just joining me, the time is now 1:50. This is the Suzette Speaks Show. I'm just doing a little bit of a deep dive into the Nolan Wells case. We didn't get a chance to discuss it yesterday, so I just wanted to bring you some more information. According to the Nancy Grace Show, the FBI now have become involved. I'm happy to hear that. Again, this is not a knock to the local law enforcement officials who have been investigating it, but they immediately, as she stated, went to the conclusion of no foul play. Now we are hearing from an expert who she has on her panel who's describing why in the second autopsy taken by the independent coroner by the family, as described by their civil rights attorney, Benjamin Crump, that pieces of the neck were missing when the second autopsy was done. And the hyoid, as he's describing, only becomes damaged, the part of the high part of your neck, above your Adam's apple, like deep into your neck tissue, if somebody tries to strangle you or put both hands at your neck, or if they're, and this is speculative, there is any type of ligature, meaning something as an object, a rope, a tie, something that would be an external object closing off your throat. So they are not saying that that has occurred in this case for the Nolan Wells case, let's be clear, but you have to examine the hyoid, and any damage to it would allow for some other evidentiary pursuit. So one thing I appreciate this gentleman did is he keeps saying that the neck was being retained because there might be helpful evidence. That leaves us really in the dark because we want to know what about the neck did the first examiner, the state examiner, see in order to deem that it was necessary to retain the parts of the neck that were not included in the second autopsy. Very interesting story. Again, our hearts go out to the family. We again hear from Nolan Wells' friends who've spoken out for the first time publicly, as stated by TMZ, as well as on yahoonews.com, reporting that Nolan Wells' friend claims he refused repeatedly to get on the boat. This was just yesterday, published last night, that Nolan Wells' so-called best friend, right, Warren Hudson, went on the Officer Tatum show where he told Brandon Tatum, this is the host, that Nolan was repeatedly asked to get on the boat before they took off. That, the way his friend tells it, Warren Hudson, it's not uncommon to go to Horn Island on a boat with your companions and come back to the mainland on a completely different boat. He said that his buddy was, quote, panicking, trying to get Nolan on their boat and to leave with them, saying, Nolan, get the blank on the boat. Warren claimed that Nolan wasn't the only person in their group to leave with someone else that day. Again, this is a tragedy for the family, and we are going to let the investigation continue. I'll continue to cover this story because I think, again, if it was your friend, your family, your son, your daughter, you would want answers. So we're going to keep an eye on this. Also, before we leave, I wanted to touch on there are a couple of events happening this weekend. I wanted to give you, what is the name of this one? The court in session. We have so many flyers here. Oh, this is not till October. I see quite a few events coming up for Jamaican Emancipendence. If you don't know, that is coming up at the beginning of August, where we see a lot of celebrations around the South Florida community where you can participate, enjoy, start getting the ticket money ready because I see, the first weekend of August will be a busy one for us. So as I come to you next week, I'll have more of a list of events that'll be happening around for Jamaican Independence, Jamaican Emancipendence, I should say, Emancipation Day, as well as Independence Day, which is often celebrated among diaspora communities, just like here in South Florida. It's a big deal, y'all. It's a big deal. Concerts. I see some concerts coming up. I see some cities putting on, while we can, because, the DEI laws have changed. So, so let's celebrate while we can, if we can be honest about it. But another top story I want to touch on before I go is the people who have been fired at ESPN. I almost said CNN. No, ESPN. Also, before we get into ESPN and some of the top, apparently, personalities that have been let go abruptly, I also want to remind you to please get your vote by mail. I did it yesterday. Vote by mail ballots, also known as absentee ballots, are the same thing, meaning you're not going to go to the polls. You want the mail to send you your voting ballot. Remember, the election for the midterms is coming up August 18th. By the time you look, August 18th will be here. So make sure you order your ballot now. Don't wait till the last minute because it takes time for you to get it by mail and then drop it off at the designated drop box or at the supervisor of elections office where you live. So you can go on your supervisor of elections website. It is based on your county. So wherever you live, Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections, just Google that. Broward County Supervisor of Elections, Palm Beach County, what? Yeah, you got it, Supervisor of Elections. Google those offices, put your name, put your address in, and request your vote by mail. They have clear listed on the websites. You can go ahead and do that now. Don't wait, don't delay. By the time you look, August will be here. And it takes a couple of days for the ballot to get to your home, and obviously for you to read it, fill it out, sign it, and then turn it back in. So make sure you're starting to get you, your household, your friends, your family to pay attention. And if they normally vote by mail, make sure they order it. Remember, you have to order it every year. It does not roll over any at all. Every single year, you must request vote by mail ballots or absentee ballots, same thing, on your county supervisor of elections website. Real quick, so ESPN has had a big firing of very popular, many of them African American news talent and personalities, and it has ruffled a lot of feathers, according to Yahoo Sports. I wonder if Yahoo's owned by ESPN. Let me see. Yahoo Sports. Every analyst ESPN has fired ahead of their new NFL season, including Ryan Clark, who is very, very talented, a polished gentleman, African-American former NFLer. People are shocked by his firing. Well, this is what Yahoo Sports is reporting. Big changes are being made at ESPN ahead of the 2026 NFL season. Here we go. The broadcasting company has fired a number of their analysts over recent days, with Ryan Clark and his exit making the biggest noise. Some people are saying it was can you imagine? Now, this is how it's being reported, allegedly. Ryan Clark was on air doing his job as an analyst while being on the network, right? Apparently, what had happened was Mr. Clark's firing apparently had been leaked and had been apparently reported on some websites or some other news outlets. So the powers that be decided to tell him during the last few minutes of his show on the spot firing, and then didn't let him, because they say he didn't return to the show, but now it's being reported allegedly that he said, should I go back out there? And they said no. It wasn't him not going back out there. It was them telling him, you don't need to go back on the air. So can you imagine that? In order to prevent him from seeing a leak, can you imagine anybody at any job getting treated with that type of disrespect? Yeah, it's making waves for that reason. Well, various members of the ESPN reporting staff, analysts corps have spoken about the cost-cutting exercise being made, as some of their colleagues are now required to find themselves a new job. Listen, when does NFL season begin? In only a matter of weeks. With the first game, Seattle Seahawks hosting the New England Patriots, September 10th. Wow. So it is shocking. Again, Charles Barkley among the people, Ryan Clark, Cam Newton, and several high-profile people. Let me just read you the list. Which analysts have been fired ahead of the 2026 NFL season? Well, again, Wednesday morning. If you watch sports, you'll know these names. Tom Pelissero announced his exit from ESPN in what was perhaps a big shock because people watch him regularly. I'm not as familiar with him, but I do know Ryan Clark. Oh, you got to check out the list. Guys, I'm out of time. I appreciate you watching and listening. Have a great weekend. I'll be back next week, Thursday, Friday. Have a good one.
To Miami, simulcasting on 96.9 FM. The voice of the Caribbean. WLYF HD2 Miami, 101.5 HD2. This is the all-new voice of the Caribbean. Better sounding radio.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
Voice of the Caribbean, and welcome to Jamrock Reggae Cruise are giving you the chance to win a balcony view cabin aboard the legendary cruise.